So, this game has taken me by surprise. I went into this game with zero expectations, but I really liked the way it looked, and I just gave it a try. And I have to tell you, I have never ever experienced such a great game that's not even out yet. This is an early access game that gave me over 100 hours of amazing gameplay with zero bugs. I haven't run into a single bug in those 107 hours I played this game, and I'm simply amazed by that. Maybe that's only because I'm playing on a private server. I don't know how it is for the multiplayer. Maybe there are bugs there, but on the private server there are zero bugs. The game runs and plays flawless, and there is so much to do. I don't even know what they can still add besides new biomes maybe, but I feel it's so complex. It just blew my mind that in early access I can do pretty much everything I haven't even imagined that I could do in this game, and I have learned every day a new thing where I was like, wow, you can do that too? That's amazing. So I can't even imagine how this game will be on final release. I don't know. I am super excited for it, but all I can say is, like, I highly recommend this game to everyone. This game reminded me very often on Elden Ring because it has this big map with so much to explore, with this beautiful nature, the many biomes, the enemies that can come at you from like anywhere where you at least expect them. It never has like a boring part in the map where there's nothing going on. There's danger everywhere, and at the beginning you really struggle to survive. I have died like 100 times because I ventured into biomes that were higher level than I was, and you know, I had to pay for it, and that's exactly what I did in Elden Ring. But just like in Elden Ring, I started ranking up, and then some of the lower level biomes became easier and easier until I was just feeling like I was Superman or Superwoman. And the many awesome weapons you can find here. The armor is just limitless what you can do with that. The crafting is incredible. The building is out of this world. It's just so fantastic, something that obviously Elden Ring didn't have. I feel like this game definitely is right in the footsteps of Elden Ring, but a little bit more relaxed. It doesn't take itself so serious, and it's not for the tryhards. It's for people who just want to casually play a game but still be challenged and still look forward to this game every day for weeks and weeks and maybe even months to come. And it's exactly why this game was right up my alley. And the fact that you can build yourself a spawn point, actually 8 spawn points in the map at strategic locations that you choose. For example, what I did is put them where the most resources are or where I have the most complicated quests, was something that I never saw in any game before. So that was so refreshing. And then the Shroud. This is where the game name comes from, which is this deadly fog. Well, it's deadly if you spend too much time in there. At the beginning you get like 4 minutes only, and when you end up in a really big shroud, well, you can't really see much in front of you, and you don't really know how to get out. The map is not really telling you because you haven't really discovered all the paths yet. It can get really challenging and kind of frightening, especially at the beginning when you're new and you're still trying to learn. And the one thing that's most frightening is that you cannot fast travel from anywhere in the shroud. You can only fast travel when you're not in the shroud. So if you are stuck and you just can't find your way out, you will die. The only way that will kind of save you is if you quit the game. That's gonna spawn you on the last spawn location, the last shrine, or at your base, or wherever you were lost. But other than that, it can get very scary when you are lost in the Shroud. And I find that such a fun concept, which makes this game stand out from other games in this genre. Not really sure why lately everyone is calling almost every open world game a survival game. I would not consider this game a survival game at all, because you're not surviving in the sense that you have to eat in order not to die, or drink, or stay warm, or stay cool in order not to die. That's pretty much what survival is all about. This game is just a game where you fight and you have to eat and drink in order to get stamina or strength, dexterity, all that stuff. But you don't necessarily have to eat. You can go... At the beginning, I didn't know that eating did anything good for me. I just didn't eat and drink at all, and I still went through all the quests and everything without a problem. So that's why I feel like it is confusing when people call it a survival game, and it will attract some people that only want to play survival games. This is definitely not a survival game. It's an open world RPG. That's what this is. So this is my main base. That's where everyone starts, in the same location, which at the beginning confused me because I was like, I cannot choose a location for my base. Yes, you can. Later on, at the beginning, when you have to build your first base, it's basically at the location where you kind of start, a little bit away from it, but not quite where you start. But I always thought the base looks so amazing at night. And you can also see my outfit, which is kind of like a mix match of different armor. But it just is the one that gives me the most strength, because I'm a melee fighter mostly. I don't do much magic. And I just thought it looked really cool, especially at night. I also like that they have some weapons that actually have a light on them, which means you don't have to swap between the torch and the weapon, which is especially good at night when you sometimes have frantic fights and you just don't have time to swap between the two. You need to be able to have your weapon in your hands at all times, but also see something, especially like in basements, for example. So that was also something that I thought was really cool. So this is my workshop. This was my starter house. I started very small because, you know, I don't need a big house for myself. But then I realized, oh, I have to build all those workstations. Where am I going to put them? I don't want them just to sit out. Some of them, yes, but not all of them, because it gets really crowded. I even have a scarecrow here. Another cool thing that you can build. I mean, there's so much. You can build your own fountain. You can build your beehive, so you have honey, which you need for healing potions. Mushrooms you can grow also, which you need for healing potions. You can grow like almost everything, even just decorative bushes. It is so cool. You can even change the terrain. You can go underground if you want. So this is my little house inside. I wanted to have this really long table that you see like in Viking movies, you know, where everyone sits and shares a meal. Have my workbench in here actually, because this is the main room where all my helpers are. And yeah, if you play solo, you don't ever feel alone because you have up to 5 helpers. Those are the people that craft things for you that you can't craft on your own. And then I have my little cozy bedroom, which I love so much. I love sleeping there and just kind of waking up, seeing the sun rise slowly through my window. I even have a cozy little bathroom, which I didn't feel necessary to upgrade because I wanted it to be rustic. I want this to feel like the Middle Age somehow, even though this game doesn't specifically play in a specific time because it's a fantasy game, but it does feel very Middle Age to me. And so I wanted it to have that kind of feeling. But you can definitely build even houses that have, you know, more modern building blocks that you find during the quests that you do. You find all kinds of building blocks, so you can customize your house any which way you want. It is absolutely amazing how much this game has. And even here, I can't wait what they're going to add for the final release. It just, I don't know, just keeps blowing my mind. I hate to repeat myself, but that's how it is. So now it's still early morning, so the sun isn't quite here yet, but it's slowly creeping up the hill. And I usually just check my stuff in the morning, get water, check all my inventory, make sure I don't carry too much. I even have blueberries, which actually are blackberries, the way they look. But they're also needed to make health potions, so that's why I have so many. And I never forget the first time I walked up to this cliff here, and I was just like, whoa, do I get to explore all of this? Can I go up to the snowy mountains? And oh my god, that looks scary down there. Is this fog gonna go away if I discover this area? I was clueless. I knew nothing, but I was super excited to go and see everything. So I have here the best glider that you can have in the game. You get that a little bit later via a quest. It's called the Ghost Glider. You can go really, really fast and really far with this glider. But even at the beginning, you get a glider. That's going to be super helpful to just get from one place to another, because some of those hills are not connected. And so you can't just jump normally. You need to fly between them. And that's another thing that I thought was so amazing that they added this to the game. Another thing that makes this game stand out from others. And another thing that made me fall in love with this game over and over again. And just see how big the map is, and it's not even all available yet. So, wow. So let's go jump to one of our spawn points. So spawn points are those altars, those flame altars, and you can also build wherever there is an altar. So I built myself a little house here. It was quite at the beginning of the game when I wasn't really sure yet where I should build bases, but because it's so easy to make a base, I thought, why not? I have a house here, I can sleep here, I have a little workbench here where I can repair my weapons and stash some of the stuff I don't want to carry around. Here's my bed. I have a little fireplace so I can recover being warm. And then down here, I actually attempted to build stairs down. Well, I actually did build stairs down all the way into the Shroud. And when I came back, the stairs were gone. So the game doesn't let me build into the Shroud. So that's something I learned. But look at how amazing this view is here with the bridge. What I learned is that this is not... You cannot get above across this bridge yet or through the bridge. There's red shroud on the other side because I assume this is going to be all open when the game releases. So there's many sections where you can't go yet in this game, but you can see on the map that there will be more. So here is the other reason why I built this spawn point here. I found a ton of copper here, and that was really the first location I found a ton of copper, so I thought this would be a great place to just get my copper. And also there is a lot of clay. So now let's go to the next spot, which is this little place here up on a very steep hill above a really big city where a lot is going on. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a boss fight there, an important boss fight, and a lot of little quests and a lot of loot, lots to discover. But as you can see, the city is mostly in the Shroud, so when you come here early, when you still are under level, which is what I did, it's a little bit of a struggle surviving this city. You'll die a lot, believe me, but it's worth it because there's a lot of cool loot. And then over here, actually, it's a little freebie I'm giving away in case you don't know yet. I discovered that when I was actually standing up on the wall, on the city wall here. There is a golden treasure chest back here, right here. And you find a very good weapon in here. I think it's changes. It's not always the same weapon, but anyway, go get it if you haven't yet. So let's go to the next spot, which is kind of in the middle of the map at a very important location. So we're up very high here, and I did not, when I came here first, I was like, if I jump down there, I might not be able to get back up here. So that's why I built a base. I have never tested if you actually can get back up here. I don't know of a path that goes down or anything. So I wanted to be safe and build a spawn point here. Also because there's many good resources, and there's this tent where you can sleep, because the one thing that can be very scary is if it's pitch dark, you can't see anything and you want to sleep, but you can only sleep at a bed. And if you can't find a bed, then you basically have to tap through the dark like a blind person, not knowing at all where you're going. And if you're unlucky, you fall into a hole with lava, and that's no fun. But there's a lot of good stuff. There are a lot of resources here, a lot of plants that you can't get at the, or couldn't get at the other bases, like palm sugar, for example, and so many other things that are new to you when you come here first. But what's really cool is that you can jump to a lot of places from here, a lot of places that you need to go to for additional resources and especially quests. So let's pop over to the next one. So this altar I built here because it's right at the edge between this grassy savanna area and the actual desert area. And the desert area has given me a lot of grief because there are those huge orange birds that can take you down super fast, and you can't just shoot them with arrows, not even with poison. I mean, you can shoot them with arrows, but they won't go down fast enough. They will claw you and you're dead. And it took me a really long time to find out that if I use stun arrows, which you need to get the recipe for first, you will then be able to stun the birds and they will no longer be a threat to you, as long as you're fast enough, obviously, to stun them. But yeah, there's a lot of dangers. There's scorpions here. The enemies are a lot stronger. So I also came here before I was leveled high enough and also had to pay the price. But let's go and visit my desert base, which is actually a base. Meaning that I built a house here and it's not even that small, and it's got a basement. Check it out. I just had to do it to see if it works. There's nothing in here yet, and I have to do a little bit of work here. It's not quite perfect yet, but I wanted to build something with a basement, and I also wanted to build a house with sandstone because there's a ton of sandstone here. And I will still add more stuff to it, but right now it's got the most necessary, which is a bed and a workbench and some storage crates. But it is such a cool base. It's so deserty looking also. I wanted to I was inspired by the city that's close by. There's a really big city close by, but the reason I built this base here was, well, the view is amazing. Obviously, you can see right down to that really big bridge and the tower, but look at this. This was the main reason I knew I had to build a base here, but it was also important to have the base here because I had to do quests in the nearby big city, which was very dangerous, and I didn't want to have to travel so far every time I die. Because when you log off the game and you come in the next morning, you will spawn back at the last base you were and not at the last save point or checkpoint. So look at this. There is this luminous, I forgot what it's called, stone that you can also use for building. There is iron, as I mentioned already. And there is sulfur down here, and there is lapis lazuli up outside in the cave. So that means there is 4 minerals here, and you can even get out on the bottom of it. So this base location was basically the best decision I made. I have never regretted it. I will probably always leave it here unless the game completely changes after release. Well, we'll see. So let's go back to the beginning where it all started, which is here, which was my second base that I built. Well, it's not really a base per se because there's no house here, but there's a workbench here and 2 storage boxes, which is all I really needed. I decided to build the base here because there was nothing nearby to spawn and I was tired of traveling so far every time. And there's a little town over this hill there. There is a ton of clay in this area and a ton of plants, among them also strawberries, which is what I used a lot at the beginning to automatically heal myself quickly when I got attacked. There is this big shroud here too. There is some quests there. And behind this mountain, there is also at least a couple of quests. So everything was really nearby. My base was in the middle, which was ideal. I could also come here to get a lot of clay and plants and then go back to my main base and start crafting with it. So this is also a really ideal location to build an altar or a base. And during the course of the game, you start to unlock some of those black big towers, but there's only a few, so they're very far spaced apart, and that's why you need to build bases in between them so you don't have to travel so far. But let's travel to one of them. So here we are up on one of those towers. They are not easy to unlock because you have to go through a lot of puzzles to get to the top. But once you're up here, this is going to be a spawn point, and then from here you can fly into any directions and you have a 180 degrees view, which is simply awesome. It's so easy to get to far-reaching points super fast, especially when you have the ghost glider at the end. So I wanted to come here to enjoy the sunset, because the sunsets here are amazing, just like the sunrises, but the sunsets just beat it. I just wanted to make this video to give kudos to the developers who did a fantastic job, and having a game in early access at this stage is something I've never seen before, and I cannot wait to play the final game, which is probably just gonna be so perfect and so amazing. I can't wait, and I can only suggest this game highly to everyone who likes this genre. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, happy gaming, take care, bye bye.